Hey there, bibliophiles and those raising bibliophiles. If you are looking for a good read, it's a little more serious, but for your, I would say probably 12 and up, then I would definitely check out this book by Sally J. Pila. It's The Fire, the Water, and Maudie McGinn. And it's won an award. It's won the Schneider Family Book Award. And so I definitely absolutely love this book. I could not put it down. I had to finish it once I started it. So a little bit more about this book. So one of the great quotes from this book is, "You can only worry about one wave at a time." And if you notice, we have a I was going to say snowboarder. That's not a snowboarder. Okay. So a surfer riding the waves. And the story is absolutely captivating. Like I said, I just couldn't put it down. I think Pila did a wonderful job crafting this first person story and narrative that draws the reader really into her world and her struggle to figure out not only what she is capable of, but to uncover if the lies that she's been told are true. So the narrative itself is a mixture of prose and verse, which is a unique style that I think many young readers and teen readers would enjoy. It helps break up some of the monotony a little bit. And so the narrative itself will kind of move back and forth. The chapters are short, which makes it very engaging, and you just want to keep moving through it quickly. It definitely comes across as a quick read in that regard, because you just want to know what's going to happen next. You can't just stop reading. You just want to keep going. So the story itself, Maudie is 13 years old and she's autistic. At the opening of the novel, she's just finished 7th grade, where she lives in Texas with her mom and her stepdad. And during the summer, she travels to California to stay with her father for the summer, and that's been a part of the divorce agreement. The reason I would have a caution of reading this with younger readers is that Maudie is dealing with abuse. And I just think that given the nature of your reader, that would just be an element of caution. So while I very much enjoyed this book, I think it's a great read. I think it's an important read in the sense that it gives the inner workings of somebody who's dealing with autism and their thoughts and some of their worries and struggles, but also the way that sometimes that those people are dealing with abuse. And so those are important things to talk about. It may be a little much for some of your readers. And so that is the note of caution as I kind of proceed with this. So throughout the story, you learn that Maudie's parents were teens when Maudie was born. And so they did get married. They did make an attempt to kind of make it work, but it was kind of doomed from the start, the fact that they were so young and they didn't have any support at all. So the narration, like I said, just really allows you inside Maudie's world and her mind and the struggles and fears that she has. The larger sort of overarching conflict throughout the story is that Maudie's keeping a secret. Well, she's kind of keeping two secrets, but the biggest one isn't revealed until the end to her father. And the reader, you don't really know. So it's piece by piece as you're going through that you learn that Ron, who's Maudie's stepdad, is verbally and physically abusive to Maudie. And so, like I said, that's a note of caution depending on your reader, if that's something that they are emotionally and mentally equipped to read about. And if they've experienced that, this could be something that might bring up some of those emotions that they themselves have experienced that, like I said, you just need to be aware of. Maudie's mother is also verbally abusive, at least in my opinion. She isn't necessarily presented so much as that. I think it's mainly Ron who's in therapy at the end, but I think her mom goes as well. But I definitely feel like her mother is also very much verbally abusive, where Ron is also physically abusive. So Maudie is really stuck in this tornado of shame. She's embarrassed. She's got this fear constantly because of the treatment that she receives. So this particular summer in the book, she's off to see her father, but unfortunately there are fires in California, and the fires destroy her father's cabin, one that he built with his hands. So they end up going back to where her father is originally from, which is in Southern California. And they're staying in basically a rundown RV by the beach for the summer. And Maudie's father, he's trying to earn a living. So while he's off working and trying to make money for them so they can at least eat, they're being able to stay here for free. Maudie is learning to surf. And her desire is really to surprise her father at the end of year surfing competition. And she wants to not only prove to herself but to others that like she's capable of doing something, because that's one of the things that like her mother is constantly is like she's incapable of things. But Maudie's mother and her stepdad show up a day early to take her home back to Texas. And she really makes a decision to stand up for herself. She's terrified. She ends up running away, but she has sort of a safe person to go to, the lady who's been helping teach her to surf. And she's starting to have this realization that the lies, the things that her mother and her stepdad have been telling her aren't true, and that she is capable of more, because all the people that she's been experiencing and learning from in the Southern California little town are all positive towards her. And so it's really opening her eyes that maybe it's not her, maybe it's them. So the trauma experienced by Maudie from her mother and her stepdad is definitely not one that I would want to understate. There's nothing super graphic in the violence. There's no actual curse words. There's references to swearing. There are physical, like portrayals of physical abuse, which can be intense, but that's also part of what makes the story compelling. Um, so, and it is important for stories like this to be portrayed in literature so that readers who have classmates who are autistic or neurodivergent or dealing with maybe verbal or physical abuse, like you can be aware of some of those signs and being able to help your friends and be more compassionate and have empathy. Um, but again, the characters in the book, I just absolutely love the story. The story does end with Ron and Maudie's mom in therapy, and Maudie is now permanently living with her father in California. In the book, also, the author provides resources at the end for anyone who wants more information about autism or reporting abuse. And I would definitely highly recommend this book. I absolutely loved it. Just again, I would definitely consider, 12 and up. Because of the content and the nature of what's going on in the book. But if you're looking for something that's realistic fiction and just a really compelling, intriguing, fast-paced, great story, I would highly recommend The Fire, the Water, and Maudie McGinn.